either sit on the fence and let the world go by, or do something about the not only predicament that you're in, but thousands and thousands of other people. You know, not in New Zealand, but kind of around the world as well.
Robert Martin's a seasoned traveller and international speaker. As a child, he was placed in an institution, isolated from society simply because of his learning disability. For over 2 decades, Robert's dedicated his life to advocating and encouraging others to speak up for themselves.
I've been doing it since 1991, basically. Probably over 50 trips. Our first trip was Holland, way back in '93, and I've been to just about every continent except Antarctica. It did get a bit tedious here for a little while.
Robert has a strict travel checklist to be sure he's packed everything he needs.
I've got an iPad in here too, so I can use it too. So I've got that, and of course my thing I need to get out of the country. Need that. My passport. Yeah, I need my passport. That's what I need.
Where are you travelling to today?
Melbourne.
To Melbourne?
Yes.
Passport, please.
Yes. There you go.
Is your luggage receipt on the back there?
Oh, yep. Excellent.
Okay, enjoy your flight.
Thank you. I bring my music with me. I get a bit stressed out at airports sometimes, and it's important to actually have things that de-stresses me.
Robert's flying to Melbourne. He's the invited guest speaker at the Valid conference. The organisation represents Australians with learning disabilities.
Hey, how are you?
Hello, Robert. Very good, thank you. Good. How are you?
See you? Yeah, good.
How was your flight?
Oh, good. No, it was really good, yeah.
He'll deliver a keynote address, and he's presenting an award named in his honour, the Robert Martin Award.
Over here.
Robert Martin is known at the highest political levels.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He was a key member of the team who drafted the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities and spent his life promoting self-advocacy.
Oh, here again.
Robert usually travels with a support person.
Finally at the hotel.
Today he's flown solo. But he's sticking to the set routine he always follows on arrival in a new city.
I usually do my shoots and stuff first. I had to say one time when I was travelling overseas, my bag fell apart, and that was a bit embarrassing. You know, before you not mince your balls, as they say.
He's gone from having almost no say in his life to sitting at the tables of power.
It's better. When I've been away for Inclusion International, I've had to sit at the top table. I always found that difficult, or meeting presidents of countries and stuff. You know, meeting the UN, what's his name? The UN director, Ban Ki-moon, and the guy before that as well. So, you know, meeting with those kind of people, I mean, you know, who would have thought that was ever possible? You know, meeting with some of the, you know, biggest people of our times. Wow. There seems to be a really move forward to actually support people to actually have a say in their own lives, and no matter what their disability is, if they have eye needs or if we can walk and talk.
Home is in small town Whanganui, New Zealand, where he lives with his wife, Linda.
It's kind of a match made in heaven, really, because she likes sport too. She's a sports fanatic like I am. She likes a lot of other things as well. She likes jigsaw puzzles and stamps and stuff like that.
Robert and Linda have been together for 25 years. They met on a work skills program.
I don't think probably otherwise would be so accepting of, you know, the travel I've done over the years, because I've, you know, done it since, well, basically I've been away overseas from 1991 to now.
In the years he lived in an institution, Robert had few possessions. He's made up for that now with a house that's overflowing with DVDs, vinyls, videos and books.
I know it looks like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, but I've got over 500 rugby books. Yep, and here's another room full of stuff, as you can see. Miles and miles of books. Here's my sports DVDs, my animal DVDs, documentary DVDs. Over here I have my my record collection, which I'm actually starting to convert to MP3. And this one is, oh, It Ain't No Way to Treat a Lady, Helen Reddy. Really good song. I remember when she came to New Zealand, she slapped a person that was interviewing her because he put the thing right in her face, and she didn't like that, so she slapped his face for him. She didn't like it, I suppose. Nobody likes a thing shoved up their nose, I suppose. Oh, I've got 10,045. I've still got a few LPs left, but not many. So I've got some real classic stuff in here. Oh, my heart and soul, my collections. Here you go.
He'd have a house full of animals if he could too, but he sticks to soft toys instead, collected from around the world.
I bought this one when I was in China. A panda. It's my panda. So I bought that when I was over in China. I did see it here.
Robert's lived independently for the last 25 years, yet in the 1950s, no one imagined it would be possible. Robert was just 18 months old when he was taken from his family and placed in institutional care at Kimberly Hospital in Levin.
I wasn't meeting my milestones that probably my sister was. My sisters are probably 18 months older than me. Mum kind of went around from pillar to post trying to find out what was wrong with me, but nobody would tell her the truth until she went to a doctor and she said, oh, he's mentally retarded. So, you know, put him in an institution and throw away the key kind of attitude. I remember crying for Mum and Dad and my sister at times, but they didn't come. Those things were really, really sad for me, because other people sometimes had people come and see them, whereas I didn't. So I always kind of felt left out.
Robert spent nearly 13 years of his life here. Kimberly and other institutions like it are now closed, effectively outlawed by legislation in 2006. But it was too late for Robert's childhood.
And that's where I used to live. I don't think they encouraged families to come and visit, but I think some did. I found it really difficult because I had hardly any friends, hardly anyone to play with. I used to play with the staff more than I played with the other children, because a lot of them were more disabled than I was, and they didn't have the same interests as what I had. It was really, really difficult for me. And back then, I was only interested in animals anyway. I didn't have any other interests. That was my main interest.
A group of distinguished doctors from Australia pay a visit to a training school at Levin, where pupils who show any aptitude for learning are given the chance to add to their knowledge.
Amazingly, in the 1950s, Kimberly was paraded as a progressive hospital. It was revolutionary to provide an education for children with an intellectual disability. It was sold as a place that offered training that could lead to employment.
A certain skill is developed in this repetitive work.
But this was no place to call home.
The rooms look very much like classrooms anywhere.
Established in the remote countryside, far removed from the local community, nobody really knew what went on here.
They're not under any jurisdiction of what happens in our communities, because these were away from the community, so they could practice what they wanted. You know, you used to see people staff tease people and get them worked up, and then they'd punish them. Why tease somebody and let them go off the rails just so they can punish them? You had a day room and you had the toilets, and not one of those toilets had an enclosed environment. So when you went from the day room into the toilets, it was basically open slather. You know, you could see what everyone had for breakfast. And where's the human rights in that? Where's the dignity in that? I remember those brown bouncy rubber balls. They were kind of really bouncy, and I tried to bounce it over the villa, but I miscalculated, and of course I hit the lever light window, and of course the staff was going past the corridor, and they were quite long corridors in those villas, and it hit him on the head, and he caught me, and he kicked my ass from the time he caught me to the time I got to my own villa, and I didn't have any tea.
On top of the physical abuse at Kimberly, Robert was also sexually abused.
I didn't understand back then because I was so young and so naive probably. Well, I wondered what he was doing and why he was touching my private parts, but you know, I just didn't understand those kind of things back in those days because I had no inclination that that was wrong. I think because people are in control, they think they can do what they want to. That's really the sad thing about these places is that, you know, these places were here to protect us, but really, they weren't. It was easy to get into these places, but bloody hard to get out of them. You know, bloody hard.
At 15, Robert was finally released from Kimberly. He needed counselling to deal with the abuse he'd experienced. His ability to move forward and embrace a new life makes him a popular speaker.
Hello, how are you?
Good, thanks, Robert. Thanks for coming again.
Oh, that's all right.
We enjoy having you.
You do a good job of putting this on.
Thank you very much. There's your name badge.
Okay, thank you.
And your
Oh, thanks
bag
so much.
and your program's in your bag.
Well, this conference is about people having their own voice. It's about speaking up, and it's about you know, delivering a message that everybody can speak up no matter what your disability is, and having the chance to actually do so. Hi, how are you?
Robert,
Yeah, how's it going? Really good to hear what you're doing and keep up the. You know, it is a struggle. If New Zealand can do it, Aussies can bloody do it, mate.
We'll beat you, yeah, in that quiz. We'll beat you.
Hello, how are you?
Good, and you, sir?
How's it going,
If
mate?
I can help one person, I'm happy.
Lots of people come to this conference purely to be with Robert again. They look forward to it. Everyone knows Robert, to us, a leader.
How are you?
So you all have something in common because you know all about the UN, and Paul and Davis made a DVD with us about the UN Convention.
Cool.
And Jane just helped me present on the UN Convention.
1,000 delegates are attending the conference. Many have heard Robert speak before, but he's not just here to schmooze. He's been asked to identify a future leader from among the attendees. The person who receives the Robert Martin Award should be someone who shows leadership in self-advocacy.
Here's a man who has come from an institutional background, who's fought his way into the community and hasn't stopped. He went all the way, all around the world, became part of an international movement, and once he got onto the committee, he actually lobbied really hard to get other countries to actually embrace self-advocacy.
Seeing the achievements people have made in their lives, you know, around coming to this environment and learning about how to speak up, learning about self-advocacy, and learning to take those first steps. And those first steps are always the hardest, but once you learn those kind of skills, you know, you actually really fly.
He's pretty clear who deserves the award.
I'm just keeping it to myself at the moment.
In the institution, Robert had no opportunity to play team sports. When he left Kimberley, he started playing cricket, rugby and soccer. many got involved in his community. But pretty quickly, he showed real leadership skills.
Oh, good stuff, Adam. Well done, Adam. Found that when I played sport, I could actually play it. I had some sort of talent because, I mean, both my mum and dad were quite good sportsmen in their own right. So I think I've just inherited things from them. Because I haven't been coached a hell of a lot to play sport, but I've tried to learn by watching people, by watching people on TV and just kind of taking it from there. Go!
Almost 2 decades after leaving Kimberly, Robert represented New Zealand in the Special Olympics. He was captain of the soccer team that went to Minneapolis.
That was the first time I started travelling, so yeah, I've never travelled before that overseas, so that was my first trip overseas. So yeah, it was just great to be part of something that was, you know, that to wear the silver fern on your you know, right breast was just really, really important. So I've actually, you know, represented New Zealand. I represented Wanganui and heaps of things like, you know, rugby. I played for the Bohemians. I mean, my competitive days are over as far as sports is concerned, but, you know, when I was younger, I used to be quite competitive. But I've lost those competitive traits now because, you know, I'm in the twilight of my career. I've been coaching soccer for many years. I coached the Special Olympic team years ago. People with disabilities weren't actually supposed to be coaches, but I used to coach the team. Looking forward to actually training and playing soccer, are you? Yeah. Good stuff, yeah. Okay, let's get into it, eh? We've also got the head coach over here, Steve. You don't try to get them to do things they, you know, can't do, but yeah, you give them confidence. And I think that, to me, is what it's all about. It's giving people confidence that they can actually do it.
Kind and patient, he's a popular coach to kids at the local school in Whanganui.
Oh, fell over there. I don't try to be too hard because they're only little kids, so you try and be invisible and just there to, you know, if the ball goes out or if there is a dangerous tackle, then you bring it up. Oh. Pushing. Free kick. Up here. Yeah, good stuff, mate.
At first it was just the sports field where Robert showed his leadership. As his confidence grew, he realised he had a greater role to play. He helped create the leading advocacy organisation for people with learning disabilities, People First. He's been a former president of the Central Region and is always on hand to support his local branch.
We didn't want more rights than what the staff had. We just wanted to be recognised as the same. You know, we weren't down there, we were their equals.
We need to get a list of all the people that have been People First,
yep,
that have been doing it for a long time. So yep. What should we do about that?
Well, everybody can do their own thing, and I think we should have a subcommittee of this as well. But I think the other thing we need to do is look for some funding.
Yeah.
We kind of started to actually fight for ourselves, and the people came back to me and I said, "No, Robert, you're right. So what do we do about it?" I said, "Well, maybe we should start having our own committees and start talking to people about their rights and all that kind of stuff." And we started to do that back in those days. We learned how to problem solve. We learned how to you know, bring up issues, how to solve issues, by not taking, you know, a big long list, but take a few that we can actually bring and settle. Oh, hi, Les.
Hey, mate.
How are you?
What you been up to?
Oh, I've just come back from Japan. Yeah, it was a really good trip. Yeah, we did several kind of talks about People First and around my involvement within the UN Convention.
Absolutely.
They actually went down really, really well.
That was amazing. I've talked to people about that.
It was People First that campaigned for the closure of institutions around the country.
We'll be keeping government to task. We want Kimberly shut as soon as possible.
The doors of New Zealand's last remaining facility, Kimberly, were finally closed 34 years after Robert had left. In 2008, Robert was made a member of the New Zealand Order of Merit in recognition for his services to people with disabilities.
It's the biggest probably thing that's ever happened in my life. It means that people with intellectual disabilities can actually achieve anything they want to. I guess that's the really important thing.
Back in Melbourne, Robert has been invited to visit one of the 3 remaining institutions in Victoria, Oakley Centre. They hope he can lend weight to their campaign to close the institution and assist the residents into community-based support.
Good, pleased to meet you.
Yeah, pleased to meet you too.
Thank you for coming and visiting Oakley Centre.
It's my pleasure.
This is 1 Allen Street, Oakley.
Yep.
This is a facility that's been around since the 70s.
Oh, yes,
It's an old H block. It's one of the oldest facilities we have in Victoria. Would you like to come with us?
Oh, sure.
Hey?
Yeah.
Come on then.
It's all right.
Lead the way, Colin. It's only a few years ago that this had 34 people living
Oh,
there.
okay.
You can see by the state of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see by the state of it, it needs, well, it shouldn't be here basically.
Yeah.
It's outdated. It's not fit for any form of person with a disability.
No. It reminds me of the times when I was in Kimberly, basically, you know.
What our goal is about, it's about community connectedness. It's about getting truly connected in the community with that social group, with that club, having access to all of the facilities and services that you and I have access to, and making choices about that. And you know, you can't do that in an institutional setting.
No, you can't. You can't. You know, because it's and you know, I talked from the experience in the UN of actually having to live life all over again. Because that's what it's like. It's a totally different experience of living in a place like this and in the community.
Robert, I'd like you to meet Bernie.
Oh, yep.
Bernie's a person that we support who lives here.
Oh, yes.
And Bernie has actually got some really exciting news.
What's the news?
I'm going to move out here. I'm going to move into number 12 Allen Street.
That's fantastic. So what does your new place look like, Benedict?
Looks like a nice house.
Yeah.
I got a nice bedroom over there.
Yeah.
And I got new fence. I got 2 ladies who live over there with me.
Oh, yeah.
So her name is Alison Freeman and Don Moffat.
Oh, yep. It's good. And did you choose those people, did you?
Yes.
Good. It's good. It's good, eh, that you've got to choose the people that you want to share your life with, eh?
Back at the conference, Robert is preparing to deliver another speech and to announce the winner of the Robert Martin Award.
I usually wear my very best clothes, like my suit or you know, a really good suit and tie, so I look the part. It gives kudos to the people. I mean, and that to me is what it's all about, you know. Hi Simone, how are you?
Hi,
nice to see
how are
you.
you? You too.
Oh, it's lovely to see you again.
Oh, you too. Oh, I don't want to hug you. See you later.
Excellent. Okay. Yep, same to you too, Simone. Yeah, anyway, I wanted to talk to you about helping me with my speech I've got to make this morning. As you know, I'm giving away an award, so I want to...
While he thrives on his independence, he's happy to accept help when he needs it. Spelling is not his strength, so a conference volunteer does a final check of his speech.
Do you want another note after that saying to build on?
To build on, yeah.
To build.
We're,
You did say guardianship.
Well,
Not
yeah.
really what you're after?
No, it's not the word I'm after, but something like guardianship. You know, there is
custodians.
Yeah, custodians is a better word. Yeah, custodians. Right. Yeah. That whole thing, respect must be earned. It's not a given thing. It must be earned. So, those are the really, really important things. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Thanks for your help.
No, cheers.
Excellent. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
I would like to introduce Robert Martin from New Zealand.
I guess one of the things I've seen over the years is...
Robert believes in a team approach to advocacy. That's reflected in his decision to give the Robert Martin Award to a team of people fighting local issues.
And also respect. And respect must be earned, it's not given. And I guess when I hand out this award today is, these are the things that I saw this group really show around leadership for people with an intellectual disability. I'm going to present it to the leaders of Geelong. And they are Simone Stevens, Marie Nichols. The reason why I chose this group is that I actually doing as they preach. Suzanne Williams. And looking to diversify and work with the parent body group, with professionals. And I think that's really fantastic that we include all people, because it's about all people with intellectual disabilities, not just the walkers and talkers of our world.
There's only one thing wrong with this group. Where's the men?
It's been another successful trip. He leaves with requests from people all over Australia to attend future gatherings. As much as he likes the travel, Robert's keen to start mentoring someone else to take his place on the world stage.
Whoop! Now that was not supposed to happen.
Especially now he has a real place to call home.
You know, I've done all this international work, and sure, you know, I've been recognised, you know, for the international work, but to me, it's not about me, it's about us and you know, the things that we have achieved in our time at the helm. I couldn't have done the things I've done without a supportive wife and without supportive people around me. I'll see you there. There's still lots of issues that I think are still around, and you know, some of them may be around longer after I've gone. But I mean, the thing is that, you know, it's about speaking up now so other people can follow in hopefully my footsteps.